This mysterious mermaid will shock you. Why she loves baby blood. The truth is terrifying. Must watch. In the heart of the dense jungle, hidden deep within the dark waters of a forbidden river, lives the mysterious River Queen. No one knows her true name, for she is both feared and revered. She rules the river with an iron grip, her presence felt in every ripple and whisper of the water. The villagers speak of her in hushed tones, for her power is unlike anything they've ever known. The queen is beautiful, but her beauty hides a terrifying secret, one that binds her to the river and drives her insatiable hunger for the blood of children. Deep within the jungle, where the trees grow thick and the shadows never fade, lies a secret long forgotten by time. The dense foliage hides the entrance to an ancient realm where no light can penetrate and no path leads in or out. Legends say the secret is guarded by powerful spirits, creatures born of darkness, who protect the River Queen's domain. It is here, in this forsaken place, that the River Queen draws her strength. Her power is tied to this forgotten secret, a curse that binds her to the river, and her terrifying thirst for blood. The spirit of the river is not a mere phantom. It is a fearsome force that commands the waters and all that live within it. Dark and formless, it moves like a shadow, always watching, always waiting. The villagers speak of its glowing red eyes that pierce the darkness, of the chilling whispers that echo through the trees at night. Some say it is the River Queen's soul, twisted and corrupted by years of thirst. Its power is limitless, and anyone who dares venture too close is said to disappear, never to be seen again. It started with the disappearance of a young child named Amara. One evening, she ventured to the riverbank, chasing butterflies in the fading light. Her laughter echoed through the jungle, but when the sun dipped below the horizon, silence took over. Her parents searched frantically, but there was no trace of her, only ripples in the water and an unnatural stillness in the air. The villagers were terrified. They knew this was no ordinary disappearance. A dark force had claimed her, and the whispers grew louder. The river was alive, and it had claimed its first victim. The village was never the same after Amara's disappearance. Whispers filled the air, spreading from house to house. The elders spoke of an ancient curse, a legend about a river queen who claimed the souls of children. Fear crept into every corner of the village, and parents kept their children close, never letting them wander near the river's edge. But the whispers didn't stop. They grew louder, more urgent. The villagers knew something dark was at play, and as the nights grew longer, the dread in their hearts deepened. The river had tasted blood, and it wasn't done yet. The legend of the River Queen had been passed down for generations, though most dismissed it as nothing more than a tale to frighten children. But now, with Amara's disappearance, the villagers began to remember. It was said that the queen was once a beautiful young woman, cursed by an ancient spirit. Her thirst for power and beauty drove her to drink the blood of children, forever binding her to the river. In exchange for eternal youth, she was forced to rule the waters, her spirit wandering the jungle in search of victims. The villagers' fear became a living truth. The village elders were the keepers of ancient knowledge, their faces weathered with age and their eyes filled with quiet wisdom. They knew the truth of the River Queen, even if they rarely spoke of it. They whispered of an ancient pact made long ago when the river was young and the jungle untouched. The queen had once been a protector, but her insatiable hunger for power had twisted her soul. The elders feared that the curse could never be broken, and that the river would always claim more children unless the village found a way to appease her thirst. Her name was Zuri, a bright, lively girl with dreams of adventure. One evening, she wandered away from the village, drawn by the sound of the river's rushing water. As she approached the bank, the air grew thick with an unnatural calm. The moonlight reflected off the water, casting eerie shadows that seemed to beckon her closer. Before anyone could notice she was gone, Zuri had disappeared, vanishing without a trace. The villagers searched in desperation, but the river kept its secret. The silence that followed was suffocating, and the terror of the queen's hunger deepened. A terrible fear spread throughout the village, gripping every heart with cold dread. The disappearances were no longer accidents. Something far darker was at work. Parents kept their children close, forbidding them from venturing near the river. Every rustle of leaves, every ripple in the water sent shivers down their spines. The villagers could feel the presence of the River Queen, her spirit lingering like a shadow over them. The very air seemed to thrum with her hunger. No one was safe. The village, once full of life and laughter, now lived in constant terror, waiting for the next child to vanish. As the moon rose high in the sky, a sense of unease fell over the village. One by one, children began to vanish during the night. It started with soft whispers in the dark, followed by a chill in the air. Then, the quiet cries of children could be heard, but when the villagers rushed to check, there was no one there. Only the ripples of the river moved, as if mocking their desperation. No trace remained of the missing children, and the fear that the River Queen's hunger was growing stronger spread like wildfire through the village. Panic gripped the village like a vice, and the once thriving community was now a shadow of its former self. The streets, once filled with the laughter of children, were eerily quiet. Everyone feared the river. Mothers locked their doors at night, and fathers stood guard, their eyes never leaving the dark waters. But no matter how vigilant they were, the River Queen's spirit always found a way. Each disappearance felt like a personal loss, and the villagers' hope faded with every passing day. The darkness seemed to swallow the light, and the village knew they were powerless to stop it. The villagers began to notice a change in the river. The once clear water turned dark, swirling with an unnatural depth. It seemed to pulse with an eerie energy, as if the river itself was alive, watching them. The surface no longer shimmered in the sunlight. Instead, it reflected the sky with a dull, menacing hue. Those who dared approach the water felt a cold grip tighten around their hearts. The river's darkness was growing stronger, feeding the hunger of the River Queen. The villagers could no longer deny it. Something evil was stirring in the depths, and it was coming for them. Desperation led the village king to seek a solution, even if it meant bargaining with the River Queen herself. Under the cover of night, he ventured to the edge of the dark waters, calling out for her. The river responded with a cold, whispering voice, promising peace in exchange for a sacred offering. The queen demanded a child each year, one chosen by the river's will. In return, she would spare the village from further loss. The king, torn between saving his people and the innocence of his children, reluctantly agreed, hoping the promise would be enough to end the terror. The River Queen's hunger was unrelenting. It was more than just a thirst for blood. It was a desperate craving that consumed her very soul. Each child she took fed the curse that bound her to the river, but it also drove her to madness. She no longer cared for beauty or power. She only sought the blood of the innocent to ease the eternal ache within her. The more she drank, the stronger she became, her spirit feeding off the fear she sowed. And with every disappearance, the river grew darker, as if the queen's hunger could never truly be satisfied. One night, a piercing cry shattered the stillness of the village. It was a sound filled with terror, echoing through the trees and vibrating in the hearts of everyone who heard it. The cry was familiar, the anguished scream of a child being taken. The villagers rushed into the night, following the sound, but it faded as quickly as it had come, swallowed by the thick jungle. In the distance, the river whispered, as if mocking their futile search. The queen's presence was felt more strongly now, and the village knew that the darkness was closing in, claiming yet another soul. On the wind, there came a sound, a soft, melodic call that seemed to echo from deep within the river. It was gentle at first, like a lullaby, but it carried a dark, hypnotic power. The children, drawn to the sound, would wander toward the river, their faces blank with an unspoken yearning. The river called to them, and they could not resist. It was the River Queen summoning them with her voice, pulling them toward her dark realm. No one could escape once they heard the call. The village watched in horror as their children, entranced, vanished into the river's depths. The jungle was not as it seemed. Beneath the canopy of trees, spirits roamed, silent watchers, protectors of the ancient forest. They were the guardians of the sacred land, unseen but always present. When the River Queen's curse began to spread, these spirits stirred, disturbed by the dark force creeping into their territory. Some believed the spirits were allies of the queen, aiding in her hunt for the children. Others thought they were the last defense against her power. As the village grew weaker, the jungle spirits whispered warnings to those brave enough to listen, hinting at a way to stop the terror. The River Queen's true hunger was a secret, hidden beneath her beauty and fearsome power. It wasn't simply blood that she craved, but the life force of the children, their innocence, their joy, their untainted spirits. Each drop of blood she consumed strengthened her, but it also deepened her curse. The more she fed, the more she became a part of the river itself, her essence woven into the water's very flow. Her hunger was insatiable, driven by an ancient force she could not control. No matter how much she consumed, the thirst would always return, dragging her deeper into madness. The tale of the missing children had become the village's darkest story, passed down with fear in every whisper. It wasn't just a string of disappearances, it was the mark of the River Queen's curse. The children were taken not by chance, but by design, their lives drained to feed the Queen's endless hunger. One by one, they vanished, leaving behind only the echoes of their laughter and a river that seemed to grow darker with each loss. The village lived in dread, haunted by the knowledge that the Queen's thirst was never quenched, and that no child was safe. The village was sinking into despair. With every new disappearance, the hope of survival seemed to fade. Fathers built stronger fences, but the children still vanished. Mothers wept, their hearts heavy with fear, knowing the river's call could claim their children at any moment. The elders gathered in secret, whispering of ancient rites and forgotten magic, but no solution seemed to work. The river's curse had woven itself too deeply into their lives. Desperation set in as the village realized the River Queen was more than a legend. She was an unyielding force, and only a great sacrifice could stop her.